So the message is walk with confidence today into the new things God is doing. He is strengthening you. He's giving you creativity. He's lining up good people to come alongside you. He's opening doors of opportunity you haven't even seen yet. These are the things you need to put your faith in, give your energy to. In quote, Joel Osteen. So this is my testimony, right? Walking with confidence into the new things that God is doing. Now, it doesn't just happen overnight, right? So I always like to reference the Give and Receive, the free community pop-up thrift boutique that I am president and founder of, because I am so proud of it. And I know that God put it on my heart, and I'm simply the vessel that's bringing it to fruition here on this planet Earth, right? And did I start off with confidence? No, absolutely not. I tell everyone freely that if you had met me about 5 years ago, yes, you can scroll and see my videos and see the different light that I had upon me. And I'm not talking about a ring light. I'm talking about an internal light that reflected externally. That I wasn't a people person. I lived in anxiety and fear. The first time I met and I call her pastress, I know it's not a word, but I made it a word, so what are words anyway? But the first time I met my pastress for the church that I've been attending, I told her straight up, I said, I do everything afraid. I do everything afraid. I'm always fearful. My voice always shakes. I always feel inadequate and all of these different types of things. And I didn't realize that I was just making a pin in the map, right? Of my destiny, of my journey along this thing called life. Because when I come back to the reference as far as the confidence today of God doing new things, is that I had to push through that fear. I had to continue to do things and say things, even though I felt inadequate, even though I felt like, who do I think I am? I can't do this. Even though I recognize and realize I've never done anything like this, nor have I known anyone to do anything like this, right? My kids were yelling in the background, so I had to pause it. Anyway, so what I was saying is I had to continue moving forward with it, right? And even though my voice shaked and I started to tear up every now and then when I would approach someone with just the notion of what I was doing, even though I felt in my soul that this was where I was supposed to be, and I could hear his divine voice in my mind, in my heart, in my spirit, in my soul, and in my every fiber of my existence saying, this is what you're supposed to do, this is who you're supposed to talk to, giving all this divine instruction. I still felt inadequate, and even to this day I often feel inadequate because who am I, right? But I say that to say this: God will give you the steps. God will put you in the direction that you are supposed to go if you are, first, you work on your healing, and then secondly, quiet yourself enough to actually hear him, because the world will scream, right? And try to mislead you and try to turn you into a clone of this person or that person, try to make you follow all these trends, try to make you become extra so that way you can supersede the trends by doing something that's just completely outlandish, and you know that it's not even you at the end of the day, right? Because that was a problem with me as well. I was like, my personality, the way that I speak, the way that I carry myself, the way that I dress, the way I do my hair, and all these different types of things. God, I'm not a reflection of what society says a president of a nonprofit organization should look like. I don't talk the way that these people, these CEOs and all these different types of things talk. But listen, what God reminded me is that he does not call the qualified, he qualifies the called. And what the world needs now more than ever is the people that live and exist within their authentic selves, not trying to be clones of one another or not trying to mask themselves for fear of not being accepted, right? Because the people that will accept us, or I should say the people that reject us, aren't meant to be with us in the first place. Because I was living a lie. I was living a lie, reading from the scripts that people never even wrote, but I could read on their spirit and in their energy that they wildly needed or requested, right? Maybe they weren't even aware of it. So I was just playing along. Okay, let's do this dance. You step forward, I step back, you step forward, right? Wrong. God had to clean me up in the shadows. I started off by saying 5 years ago, you wouldn't even recognize me. I leave the videos up. I leave those challenge perspectives up for you to see my evolution, not for you to challenge where I was or she's living a lie or she used to say this, that, or other. I'm not worried about cancel culture, nor should you. The point being is that God was strengthening me every single step of the way. We always joke about when our parents used to have us call like the pizza place up and be like, I don't want to call. What do I say? How do I order? All those things. But that's just being strengthened, right? God is doing the same thing, or at least he has done the same thing with me. Although my voice would shake and quiver, it was me perfecting my elevator pitch, right? Now I could say it in my sleep. Now I could say it in 5 times fast forward in real time, right? Because he was making sure that I grew confident and comfort in places that I didn't even felt worthy of being, right? Now I can enter in those rooms and not just be my true self and know that if they're going to work with me, if they're going to accept me, it's because that's where I'm supposed to be. Or if they reject me, then that means God is redirecting me to another place. But guess what? I'm always going to leave an impression. And God will continue to open doors, because when people see me from a distance, or even if they talk to me in person, and this isn't to brag on myself, this is to brag on God, because I was not always like this. God burned up my former self and allowed me to rise from the ashes like a phoenix. Now, people would see things in me that I wouldn't see within myself, and God would see things in me, and he always knows who we are and what we're capable of. But sometimes we allow the world to scream so much hatred and so much just jealousy and so much everything into our mental just state of being that we forget who we are and whose we are, right? So all of that to say, when you have those seeds in your heart, start watering them. Start watering them. Don't worry about the cringe factor. Don't worry about what other people are going to say. Don't worry about the haters. Don't worry about the judges and all those different types of things. Because like I always tell everybody who comes into the boutique, guess what? Haters are in the crowd. Do you think that the top of the top is worried about what the people are whispering in the balconies? No, they don't even hear them. They're not even a blip on their radar because they're too busy doing what it is that they are there to do. And that is what I'm here to do and to remind you of. So whatever it is, don't bounce that idea off of somebody who you know is not capable of receiving it, perceiving it, or just getting it overall. The problem is we often feed these larger than life notions that have been put in our heart by God himself to people who have small minds, or people who aren't supposed to be doing those types of things as well, but they want to tell you the stories of their failure because they're too scared to actually walk their true path. Once we receive the rejections and once we hear about the failures and all of those types of things, instead of moving forward, oftentimes people will say, well, I guess that's it. And instead, no. Once you start to realize that that's redirection and that's still training, right? Because now I know what not to do. Now I know who not to bring onto my team. Now I know who not to divulge information to. Now I know how not to invest my money, right? Instead of doing that, learn the lesson, call the truths that God is trying to present before you. Because oftentimes when we experience rejection, when we experience failure and all of those different types of things, it's because we got hard heads. And if God gave it to us on a silver platter, we would burn it up in 2 seconds flat. You ever hear about people winning the lottery and then being broke within a few years? Yeah, that would be us. And I say us because I'm included. I wasn't raised to be a good steward of finances. I wasn't raised to understand that sometimes you have to spend a little bit more to get better quality. No, I was raised to say, well, if I could get 5 for $1, then that's what I'm gonna do instead of getting 1 for 5. Because I don't realize I wasn't clocking the fact that 5 for $1 would tear up in less than 24 hours, whereas the $5 one would last for a month or a year. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Anyway, I'm getting away from it because I'm preaching, I'm trying to teach, I'm trying to remind you of who you are. The bottom line to this bottom line, because I'm running out of time, is that God will continue to strengthen you if you get out of your own way, if you listen, if you live authentically, and you watch for those doors to open and don't be afraid to walk through it. That is it. That is my testimony.